Alright, doing a review. Just got this Kuryakyn Road Thunder 3-inch pods in. Ordered it from RevZilla. Came in about a week. So I'm gonna do a review. That's the box that it came in. Here it is. I got the satin black. Here are the instructions. I'm gonna try to go through and see how to install this bad boy. I'm gonna be putting it on my 02 Honda Shadow 750. I did have just a Bluetooth speaker that was Velcroed here, with some industrial strength Velcro. But once you're going 50 miles an hour, you really can't hear anything. So I went to Laconia this year, the first week of the bike rally of 2016. I went to the Kuryakyn station that was there at Laconia, at the Laconia Harley dealership. They had a setup, and I heard these firsthand. They had the Road Thunder soundbar, which I was looking at. That was $3.99, and I was gonna install that because it would have been a lot easier. But then I heard these, and these were significantly better with quality of sound, with volume, with bass. I'm not a fan of these egg-shaped speakers, but most of them are like that for a reason, and I believe that anything with the internal amp, it's just the shape really allows for that sound to travel well. So I'm going to install this. Here's what came in the box: the instructions, the wiring. And you open it, you got the beautiful setup here, clamps, got some bolts, brackets, so I'll be doing a review of that. The left side has the internal amp, and got the switches. Seem pretty simple. I'll unbox this. Here's the right side. This is the louder one. Here's what it looks like. So fits in the palm of my hand. And then here's the plug. It's got the aux cable. So I'll be installing these. Alright, just to speed the process, I just put one clamp right here, which is a little bit loose. I'm gonna adjust it. That's where the speaker is gonna mount out of, and this is gonna hold my cell phone. I do have a little spot here where I have a iPod shuffle to play music. I'm tight on room, so I gotta make the best of it. And then here's the other one that I'm putting in right now. So this is the other side. I'll tighten it up, and then I'm gonna add the speakers. Okay, so I just installed one of the two speakers. It's actually fitting quite nicely. I just tightened up that little bolt right there. Make sure you put the washer on the top and the bottom. There's a little lock washer. I don't know if you can see a little silver lining right there, just to make sure that it's not rubbing, and it gives it a nice tight connection there. So I'm gonna now put the other side right here. I'm gonna have to move this bag right here because it's just not gonna work out. It's gonna be too tight for this Memphis Shades bullet fairing. So I'm gonna have to get rid of this and find another way to store my gloves and my glasses. I really don't like my backpack, using a backpack when I'm cruising, so we'll see. Alright, so we'll check back in with the other one. Alright, so I just put in the second one. This actually looks pretty good. You can't really tell from the front of the bike that there's speakers there. Not that I'm hiding it, but that's why I went with the satin black, because it was a little more discreet, not the shiny or chrome. I did go with all the accessory parts. These are Arlen Ness rearview mirrors, so I went with these black, and looks pretty good. So now I'm gonna start doing the wiring. I'm debating how much. Again, the one on the left is the heavier of the two speakers. This one has the internal amp. Here's all my connections. I'm gonna show you how to connect those in a second. Here are the clips. They're gonna join each other, and then the other clip will run through. I'm debating how I'm gonna get under here, if I have to take off my tank or slide it. I'm gonna have to take off this seat anyway, so we'll see how it goes. Alright, I'm not sure how long I'm gonna get this done because it's getting dark, but once you take the zip tie off of the speaker to the right without the amp and the speaker to the left with the amp, this is the thicker wire. You're gonna see at the end of it you have 3 clamps right here, and then you have the 2 clamp, and then this is the aux that's gonna go to your phone or whatever device if you don't want to do Bluetooth. So the speaker that has the wiring harness to the right, this guy right here has this one, the 2-prong, and you're simply going to connect it to this other 2-prong, and then the 3-prong will go to the harness that will go to the under the tank and into connect to the battery. So let's do that. Okay, so I connected the 2-prong, and these are the zip ties that I'm going to be using shortly, and then the T-clamp. And then here is the other end of the 3-prong that we're going to connect to and extend the way through to the battery. So I'm going to do that right now. Alright, so it's about 9 o'clock, so I'm going to stop now, and I'm going to continue this tomorrow. But here's what I did. I have the cords off the back, thicker one, the one from the right speaker, and this is the aux. This one's really long. I think the intentions were that which I guess is a good idea, if you wanted this cord to be long enough to extend all the way under along with the other cords, that it could actually reach all the way to your seat if you wanted to have your phone in perhaps a little seat pouch there. But just because of how my bike is set up, I took off my solo seat. I just reversed the wire, ran it back up, and give myself a little bit of slack so I can plug into my shuffle, or I can plug into my shuffle or plug into my phone, and then go from there. I had to take my Memphis shades to just have more room. But tomorrow the mission is to take the tank off to the side. I'm gonna use this side because I just noticed that most of the wiring is on this side of the bike, so I'm just gonna work with it. And there's actually on the bike a little, you can see right there, my finger right there. There's like a little clip that's holding a lot of the wiring there, and I'm assuming there'll be one more under maybe. And then I'm gonna work this all the way under here. Work this all the way under here. Work this all the way under here. I may go under here, and then I got some slack, so I'm gonna have to zip tie some of this down. And then these are the ends that go to the battery. Okay, and then here's a fuse. So, all right, so day 2 of the installation of the speakers. I'm gonna have to take off the tank. I did all the wiring right here. So now I'm gonna take off the tank, do the wiring, and then hook up the connector to the ignition before we get going, and then to the battery. All right, so the tank came off. Just had to take a bolt here and 2 small screws that were there. And now what I'm going to do is work with these wires. I'm going to go and just work the same path as the other electrical. So this goes under, comes up and around. It's coming on here through the bottom. I'll zip tie it over here, and then I'll come out right here where I can hook up to the positive and negative. Alright, so I got the wire coming down here. I'm going to tie everything up. Just wanted to make sure that this red wire needs to go to the positive terminal. The ground is the black that needs to go to the negative. Just make sure that the directions say, make sure there's a fuse here. Make sure that fuse is not in when putting the wires together. Wait until everything's been connected, then you can then you can put it back in. All right, so if you can see here, here's the red wire connected to the positive. Here is the black wire that's connected to the negative. Here's the fuse. The next part is the T-clamp. So this is the ignition. Right here is the ignition plug that wraps all the way down and around to the ignition right here. I have to follow it, so if you look right here. So right there is the ignition. So that's this set of wrapped wiring that goes under. If you can see, I'm gonna move it. Okay, that's this part. That's gonna clip here. So you have to tap prior to that, and here is my T-tap that I put into the red, the solid red, which is the hot. And I'm now gonna plug in the male connector to the female connector like that. So I'm gonna go into the right here. All right, so here's my fuse. I just wired everything up. That T quick tap is there. So here's the orange wire. Here's the fuse that I'm gonna now replace, and I'm just gonna test it out before I put everything back to make sure everything works. All right, so just want to let you guys know I made a major mistake. So be careful with this one. When I put my fuse in, I automatically heard the speakers go off. The ignition was off. I put the fuse in, I heard the speakers. Played music with the ignition off. And that's because I tapped into the wrong wire. So check your books. I accidentally tapped into the battery wire, which was the direct connect wire, which I had to put a little duct tape job on. You can see right there. Where's my finger? Right there. This was the wrong wire that I was originally tapped into. That was directly to the battery. You want the ignition wire, which is mine. It's the red with the black line. So that's why I had that mistake, and something wasn't right. So just be careful when you're doing that. The fuse, again, when you put that in and the ignition off, your speakers should not go off. If they're going off and you hear music and the ignition is off, it's because you're in the wrong wire. So everything sounds good. I'll let you guys hear how it sounds.
Spin through it all.
These things are amazing.
Tell me who rock, who sell out in the stores. You tell me who flop, who cop the blue drop, who jewels got pops, who knows we don't get down for the blue drop. The same old pimp, mace, you know ain't nothing changed but my limp. Can't stop till I see my name on the blimp. Guarantee a million sales, put a level up. You don't believe in how the world, double up. We don't play around, it's a bet, lay it down. Didn't know me 91, bet they know me now. I'm the young Harlem with the Goldie sound. Can't no PG. Hold me down, cooler, school me to the game. Now
I'm not gonna lie, these are almost too loud. But if you think about it, when you're on the road, you're doing 50, 60, it's gonna have to be louder. And I'll show you how it's not directly connected to the battery. Because right now my ignition switch is on.
School me to the game, now I know my duty. Stay humble, stay low, blow like Woody. Like him, you know, dough in the booty.
So if it's done correctly, when you turn this off, it should just turn off. So that's how you know that it is to the right wire, that it's not draining the battery. When the ignition is off, everything else is off. When the ignition is on,
I call all the shots, all the spots, rock all the rock.
All right, there you go. This is the full installation. Full installation of the Kuryakyn 3-inch Road Thunder speakers. Showed you where to hook everything up properly, even though I made a mistake. How to go under the tank. How it's connected to the ignition.
On the real, this is where it's at. I get on
Off. On.
the
So hopefully you guys can benefit from this. And until next time, later.